Hashem's name will be blessed forever and ever. Shavuot number 2, continuing with the topic about the Gilgulim of David and Bathsheba. Historic class is dedicated for Refuah Shelema, for the group, every name you want to mention. And for all the Israeli soldiers to come back home safely, and for the sake of the soul of Kalman ben Yaakov and Eliyahu Pesach ben Yehuda Leib Halevi.
And then also my mother's 3 days later.
And what's the name?
Necha Golda. It's
Necha Golda
Bas
Yisrael. Amen. So today I'm going to discuss with you, Bezrat Hashem, what I mentioned last week, because I know people want to a little bit to sit on that topic, about something I mentioned last week about parents being in a relationship and how it should be in a clear and clean way, so the offspring, the children will come, Bezrat Hashem, healthy spiritually. And I'm going to share with you something very, very interesting today. In case any kids are going to join, I'm going to use, I'm going to say words straight, but you get the idea. Because some of it is very sensitive. Okay. So we've learned about Adam and Eve and the serpent. And we've learned that David is the Gilgul of Adam. Bathsheba is the Gilgul of Chava, and Uriah Hachiti is the Gilgul, the source, the spark, from the shoresh, from the roots of Nachash HaKadmon, the serpent. The question, who knows about that? How is that mixed with our story on the Tanakh? We'll see Bezrat Hashem today. So hold your heads. We're diving in. Adam HaRishon come back as David HaMelech, Neshama, and he comes to rectify what he missed, what he did wrong in his first life, 930 years. This is why David HaMelech was described in the Tanakh as, I'm going to use the text, Admoni im yefer enaim vetov ro'i. I want to translate literally. Admoni, redhead. Yefer enaim, beautiful eyes. Vetov ro'i, and he has a beautiful figure. Okay? Admoni also hinted to Adamni. Adam. It comes from Adam. Admoni means Adam, like red, right? But Adam, Admoni, the way it's written, it's hinted to Adam. Romez legilgul Adam, that comes from Adama. Adam, Admoni, Adama. Come from the same mishpacha. Okay? Also, it says about David HaMelech that he was very beautiful. The figure was very nice. Compared to Adam, Adam was the most beautiful creature on earth. Okay? It was made by Hashem himself. Chava come back in Bathsheba. And I'm not going to go through the calculation. I did the calculation myself to check it out. And it's hinted in her name, Bathsheba, and a small gematria with the kolel. It's called kolel. It's gematria ktana, small gematria Chava. It means Bathsheba and Chava in a way of doing gematria matches. And she was called Bathsheba. What Sheva in Ivrit? To hint to the 7 Yemei Avlut, the 7 days of mourning that she brought to the world. With her actions, death comes. After death, it's 7 days of mourning. Bathsheba, she caused that. It's all hinted. Who would know? That it comes to the world, down to the world, following her actions. Okay? And this is why when Bathsheba saw her son Shlomo drinking wine, she didn't like it. I don't know if you know, but the Midrash says, the Talmud says that she used to hit him. He's already a king. She's hitting him with a shoe. But Sheva, straightening them up. He became king at what age? 12. He was fit at the age of 12. Obviously, Hashem says it fits. But she was putting him in the corner and slapping him. What are you doing? You're coming late. The whole world is waiting for you. You're sleeping too late. 10, 15 minutes late, boom, boom, slaps with her shoes. So she used to rebuke him all the time. She was a great tzedikah. And she didn't like him to see that he's drinking wine. You want to drink wine on the proper occasions. All right? What's a proper occasion? Shabbat. Holiday. What else? Huh? Purim agree. It was not Purim yet. Yom Ha'atzmaut for sure was there.
Weddings.
Did they have Palestinian back then at the Shalomot times? No. So, and what she was used to tell him, she used to tell him, Hakol Yod'im, everybody knows, she'avicha yireh shamayim, your father has yiras shamayim, fear of heaven. ועכשיו יאמרו, אמו גרמה לו, and then they're going to say, oh, what happened is because of his mother. If you read it from the text, the Midrash, you have no clue what it's talking about, and it's mentioned also in Tractate Sanhedrin, on page 72, Ayin Bet. She meant to say, and we'll see it later on, if she's referring to herself being in the first Gilgul as a Chava when she gave the fruit and the squeezed fruit to Adam. We know that one of the opinions that it was grapes, right? And now they said, that's what I'm doing to you, it's my fault. You're bringing up the ultimate sin, the sin that I made. And Zohar says, one of the proof that the fruit that they were sinning with, it was wine, it was grapes, is what Noah did first thing, which planet he planted? The grape. Why he did that? To rectify for the sin of Adam. First thing that he wanted to do. Okay, the rabbi is debating if it was figs, it was that. That's not the time to discuss that. Nachash Kadmon, one second. Nachash Kadmon is the ancient serpent. Chazar, and he reincarnated in Uriah the Hittite. And again, with Uriah, you play with the numbers. It fits to Nachash in Gematria Ktana. Also in the full name, Uriah, Hittite, Chivya, and all these calculations. I want to get to it. It's hinted to the root of his soul. We can see that people has connection to something impure, tameh. How is that influenced that person's life? What happened with Uriah? When David met for the first time Uriah, you have any idea?
When he was fighting Goliath.
Fighting Goliath. So we'll see it in a second. So, now, I want to ask a question. Uriah, according to the Psukim, it looks like he was married with Sheva. But there is a rule we're saying that something that a simple person used, you don't give it to a king. Meaning, if she was already married with a regular simple person, idiot, doesn't fit to a king. Okay? It's debatable in the Talmud if a king can marry a widow, for example. Says not a widow, yes a widow. Rambam says yes, no. Saying the debate is about if she was a widow of another king, it's a different story. We'll discuss it when we'll talk about Abigail and Naval. What happened there? But just a food for thought. Give me 1 second. And also, so if she was already married and her husband died, how you can marry a woman that was with someone else? So our sage is proving something amazing. I don't think you ever heard that. That she was with Uriah, before divorce. The question if he was with her intimately. And they're proving that, and I'm going to show you the proof, that she wasn't. Nevertheless, she was under his, jurisdiction, what do you say, under his power. They were not together intimately. So she was still a virgin. And it says, Uriah, for Uriah it was a punishment. Okay, what's the punishment? It says, according to the Zohar, Uriah lo karav elea kol yamav. Uriah was not with this lady Bathsheba ever, never in his life, intimately. Because in Shamayim, from heaven, they punished him for former actions, deeds. Meaning, we'll see in a minute, Bathsheba, she is virgin. Why is that happen? First of all, the zechut of David HaMelech, he has a zechut, he has a merit, that from Shamayim is taking care of it and watching him from behind, far away, that this lady was supposed to be his. Something along the way messed it up, and Uriah got it before him. But he couldn't be only with her, with him, but not completely with him. And that's going to raise a lot of questions among the people and the Israelite and the Jews till today, people questioning the actions of David HaMelech, what really happened there. But since David was such a great tzaddik, and he watched his Brit Milah, he got this chut that nonetheless this Bathsheba was meant to be his from the time of Sheshet Yemei Bereshit, the 6 days of creation. Okay, he has the root, the zchut to take her. What happened? Bathsheba, she was looking for excuses not to be with him. And it happens to be all the time. I don't know if it's a days or months. I'm not sure how long she was with Uriah. I was trying to look all over. I don't think there's any information about it. I couldn't find. But it happens to be that Bathsheba, by the time Uriah was available and was already at home, she was not at the right time to be with him. You see what I'm saying, right? She can't be. And then he has to leave. He's in a battle. It worked out in a way that they could not be together. Tahara. And it happens, by the way, all the time. There's something we called chupas nida. I don't know if you heard about that. Chupas nida, the rabbi needs to be aware of that before, because you have to act a little bit differently. Usually the crowd will not notice, because let's say they prepare themselves. Usually you set up a date so they can be together, right? But sometimes things happen, and a day before he said, boom, she's a nida. You're not going to cancel the wedding. But on the other hand, they cannot touch each other, right? So what you're going to do with the ring? He has to put the ring over her finger, and so forth and so on. So there are tricks to do this. What's the trick with the ring? He has to flip it, and no, I'm sorry.
Come on. Just touch the ring, maybe?
Right. The rabbi knows. The rabbi will teach them before the chuppah what to do. But they cannot be together that night till she passes the time and then go to the mikveh. So that's more or less what happened with Bathsheba and Uriah. In one hand, she's with him. In the other hand, she's still kept. All right? She felt also, she's a great tzadikah, a great neshama. A great neshama can feel. And she feels that something here is going on, and she was saving herself from him. Now, what happened in the story with Uriah? Really, in a nutshell, we mentioned that with Goliath on the battle zone, David hit him in the head. He went to render to chop his head off. It could not open because it was locked in a way that only Goliath and his servant that was on the battle zone know how to do it. Now Goliath is on his face and he's about to wake up, David has no sword. He wants to chop his head off. Uriah is there. Uriah took advantage and says, if I tell you how to open the sword to get it, you'll marry me with a girl from Israel, a Jewish girl. David says, you're doing a great mitzvah here. You're helping me. I will. He showed it to him. He opened it. Boom. Chopped it, and come back to the Israeli camp victorious. Okay, that's really, really in a nutshell. Kodesh Baruch Hu says at that moment, what is this? You're giving like that Jewish girls to everybody that ask? He says, Hayecha, I bet you now, the one that was supposed to go to you will go to him first. Okay? So, without doing that, probably Sheva would go to him with no questions. But now he has to go through Uriah. Your girl's going to go to him. So, we all know what happened when Uriah came back from the battle. And David sent him back in order to die. Okay? Now, Natan the prophet, comes before King David, and he's sharing with him a fable, a mashal, or a parable, you think, right? Mm-hmm. And he's talking about, it's the famous, the poor lamb. You heard about that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what was the story? He told them, mashal, it's a fable, kivsat harash, the poor lamb. Okay, rash is lamb. Rash is poor. Kivsa is. The pasuk says, "Vayishlach Hashem sent Natan to David," and then he told him a story. There is two people living in one city. One is rich, and one is poor. The rich has a lot of livestock, and he's rich. Bottom line, the poor man has only one lamb. And then he says something very interesting. He says every word from the words of the Navi is calculated. And then he says, and he has this small little lamb that he bought, and she lived in his livestock with him, with his sons together, eating from his bread, drinking from his cup. Uvechekot tishkav, she is with him on his shoulders. Vatihilo, and she was to him kebat. She was to him like a bat. What is a bat? Like a daughter. Why the Navi has to add that? He's hinting, same as a father cannot be with his daughter. He was not with her. He treated her, at least till that point, as a daughter. Wanting, not wanting, it's not the question now. Right? You can tell me that he has a lamb. I have to tell you all the story, drinking, eating, and lamb, like a daughter.
That's a forbidden relationship,
right? Bottom line, he says to him, and what happened is that the rich man took this lamb and prepared it for his guest. Now, the Navi point out that for Uriah, till that point, that David was with Bathsheba, she was like a daughter. He didn't touch her. Remember when we sang, there's a pasuk in Shir HaShirim about a husband saying to his wife, Achoti, Ishti, Ra'ayati, Achoti, Tamati. He called his wife, my wife, Ra'ayati, Achoti, my sister. Your wife or your sister? Sometimes your wife is your wife, sometimes you're forbidden like she is your sister because of the time. Right? It's the same thing over here. And all these happened from Shamayim. because she was supposed to be with David, but they didn't let Uriah to be with her and touch her. I will conclude this and I'll go to something that I wanted to share with you. There is Malach in Shemayim. There is heaven. In heaven, there is a king. There is a angel named Duma. You heard about Duma? Sometimes we read it in the Tehillim. V'chol yordei Duma. Is an angel that he is in charge over Gehenna, hell. Is in charge over the Neshamot, the Nefashot. And he was talking negatively against King David. He wants to take him to court, saying why David didn't wait 3 months from her husband. Meaning, if her husband left the house for 3 months, fine. But I guess he took her when he just left or something. He didn't wait for 3 months. It's called Shlosha Chodeshei Avchana. Kodesh Baruch Hu himself came down and testified that Uriah never touched Bathsheba. Okay? Later on, Bathsheba told that to David when he took her. And therefore, David needs to wait 3 months. Now, I want to ask a question which involves what I'm about to share with you. We've learned that in order to be with your wife, you have to be in the most cleanest way, spiritually, physically, everything, right? We're not animals. The sages commend those who sanctify themselves during marital sexual relations, stating that they will merit having good children. It says in Shavuot, 18b, tractate Shavuot, the sanctity entails the couple concentrating solely on their wholehearted love for one another. The greater their love and the greater their wish for good and righteous children, the holier their sexual union through which they merit having such children, and so forth and so on. And if they act differently, which I will share with you a list, that's going to cause a lot of problems. Now, what's the source for it? One day, the prophet Ezekiel said the following. One of the secrets he revealed when Mashiach comes, things going to happen, right? What's going to happen? One of the things, it says in Ezekiel 20:38, ובראתי מכם המורדים והפושעים בי מארץ מגוריהם הוציא אותם ואל אדמת ישראל ובראתי מכם המורדים והפושעים. There will be a selection and many will die, and Hashem will make sure only those worthy will remain, will left to be in Mashiach Messianic days. And Hashem will take the souls of people will die. Some of them you would think they are righteous. The problem is the way they come to this world make them disqualified. Who are they? So the Talmud says, Amar Rabbi Levi. He says, go ahead, read it.
I will separate from among you those who rebel and those who transgress against me. I will take them out of the land of their sojourning, but they will not come to the soil of Israel. Then you will know that I am
That's it.
right.
That's it. That's good. Thank you. So who are these people? Rabbi Levi says, Elu b'nei tesha midot. There is 9 categories. The abbreviation, acronym of name, it's called Bnei, the children of Osnat Meshagah. Not Meshagas, Meshagah. Very close. Very close. It's the acronym of Osnat. Eima, Anusa, Snua, Nidui, Temura, Meriva, Shichrut, Grushat Alev, Irbubia, Vechatzufa. I will explain each and one of them. The sages added one more category, number 10, called Chatzufa. What's Chatzufa? Chutzpah? Chutzpah. What's Chutzpah? Nerve, right?
Yes.
What does that mean? We'll see. We'll get to it, Bezrat Hashem. And Rabbi Yonatan based his the 10th category on what he saw, the way Leah acted toward Yaakov in a way that sounds not so appropriate, with a little bit chutzpah, when she demands that he will be with her. But which child came out of it? Issachar. Issachar, a great scholar. All his descendants, great scholars. So is it good or bad? The chutzpah between the wife to the husband is good or bad? And what kind of a chutzpah? What's going on? Depends, right? In the Talmud, they calling this situation, the 9 categories, the children that they are mamzer, but they're not a real mamzer. By definition, they're not mamzer. But they consider like mamzer. What does that mean? If you're with your wife, it's permitted. It's according to all the halacha, criteria. But yet, the way you did things, it's inappropriate. And you cause Neshamot to come from a place of mamzer, like. And how is that going to affect their life? Their avodat Hashem, spiritual work, spiritual life, will be hard on them all their life. Whose fault is it? You, father and mother. Okay. It's interesting to see one of the answers of the Chazon Ish. He was asked, what happened that many went off the derech in the days when the Israel was established in 1948, in 50s and the 60s. You could see people that come from a very religious country and they become secular. They had payers and they cut their payers, and so forth and so on. So Chofetz Chaim says it was a very hard time to live in Israel. Economic situation was really hard. It caused a lot of problems in Shalom Bayis, peace in the house. And because there is no Shalom Bayit, a lot of these 9 categories, Osnat Meshagas, happens. Especially the Bnei Meriva. We'll see in a minute what happened. Okay? Okay, so let me read to you what are these 9 categories. Did you ever hear about these categories? Never? Okay. So I have the Hebrew, I'm going to read it directly from the English. So we've learned that one needs to be with his wife when they love and they together and on the same page, like we say, not anyone forcing each other and so forth and so on. So he says, in contrast, the less love and devotion they have toward one another, the more flawed their sexual union, and the greater the likelihood of imperfection within their children. The Talmud lists 9 types of flaws in marital sexual relations, as well as the resulting imperfection in children conceived through such unions. Quote, children of fear and rape, children of antipathy, right? Yes. Children of ostracism, like kicked out, the nidui, children of exchange, children of strife, children of drunkenness, children of estrangement, in distance, children of entanglement, and children of brazenness. This is a chutzpah. Okay? You ever heard that? No. Never heard that. Okay. Let's go one by one. The first one, the children of fear and rape. The husband threatens his wife into having sexual relations, or the wife forces her husband to have sexual relations with her with coercion or intimidation. Coercion. What does that mean? Coercion?
Force.
To force. Okay, to force. With coercion or intimidation. It happens all the time, unfortunately. But the Neshamot that you bring down to the world due to these actions will bring a Neshamat close to Mamzer. No less than that. It's that, the ultimate, by definition, Mamzer, but that's what it is. What's the second one? Children of antipathy.
That means they don't care.
The husband despises his wife and has sex with her only to satisfy his urge, his taiva, right? Or the wife despises her husband and has sex with him only, the relation with, to satisfy his urges. So far so good? That's the second one. So there's hatred between them. That's what's going to cause, if she will conceive and have a child with a lot of challenges. The third one is the B'nai Nidui, the children of ostracism. The couple has a relationship when one of them has been excommunicated. Although a person who is excommunicated is not prohibited from having sexual relations, it says in Sukkah. Nevertheless, since the rest of the community must distance themselves from such people until they repair their actions, sexual intimacy with them does not have the proper devotion of joy. So sometimes people get nidu, the rabbi of the community or whatever, the Beit Din, declare on someone that he is excommunicated. It could be 40 days, it could be 30 days, it could be whatever. All this time, he can be with his wife, technically, but that's going to cause a problem. Number 4, Bnei Temurah. Why I'm bringing this, by the way, how is that related to the relationship between Bathsheba and David? Maybe it's fell under one of these categories. You tell me. 4, Bnei Temurah. What's Bnei Temurah? And unfortunately, this something happens. It's very common. Children of exchange. You have any idea what does that mean? Children of exchange? During the sexual intercourse, the husband is thinking about another woman, or the wife about another man. How could that happen? Have any idea? You look in shock. What's up with you guys? How could that happen? He could see something on TV. Could be in a movie. Could be, I don't know where he was, and he saw other women. He's with his wife thinking about her. It's going to affect the baby if she will conceive. And vice versa. The woman thinking about someone else that you saw. It's called B'nai Temurah. The 5th category is B'nai Merivah. Children of strife. The couple is in the middle of an argument and they have their relationship before making up. Their quarrel does not permit them to forgo their ona, O-N-A, but they have a duty to make up before having sexual relations. Okay, next. Number 6, B'nai Shichrut, the children of drunkenness. Children of drunkenness. Very simple, right? If a couple has this relationship while one of them is drunk, their union lacks the complete focus on their love and unity. Yeah. Number 7, B'nai Grushat Halev, children of estrangement. When one of the couple wants to divorce, even if they still have love for each other, their union is incomplete. Number 8, Bnei Irvuvia, children of entanglement. A woman divorces and remarries someone else within 3 months leading to confusion about paternity.
Paternity. Who the father is.
Paternity, yes. The ninth one is Bnei Chatzufa, children of bereziness. When a woman demands it from her husband in a berezin course or a full-mouthed manner, or husband from his wife, such a union contains no love, only the satisfying of lust. So, the Talmud says, Rabbi Levi says, oh, hold on. When a woman wants to be with her husband, it's a great thing. You see with Leah, with Yaakov, we got Yisachar. He says it's two different things. Leah didn't use bad words, or she didn't use, actions that show that very much. She did it in a very smart way with tzniut. With tzniut, you want to be with your husband, this is really good when you're pushing for it. But when you do it in a different way, in a very secular way, using bad words or whatever, that's one of these 9 categories. In Masechet Kala, Aleph to Zayin, they add one more. Okay, so Kala introduce a 10th category, children of sleeping. When a man has this relationship with his wife while she is sleeping, such a union lacks a mutual love. Okay. All right. It is said of people conceived under these 9 circumstances that since their souls are drawn down to this world by means of union devoid of love and unity, they are flawed, making it difficult for them to connect to the sacred or to overcome their evil impulses. In addition, when parents lack love and understanding, their feeling of distance and alienation negatively impact the children, who need an environment of love, friendship, stability, and emotional warmth in order to thrive. So, these children are doomed? I'm asking you, what do you think of it? Huh?
You never said it was doomed, you said it was difficult for them.
Okay, what does that mean?
But Hashem chooses the parents you are born to for your own tikkun, right? So these children were being born.
Sometimes you get what you deserve.
Right.
You have to eat what you cook. It's Adam Nidon, a person, one is judged according to his actions. Okay, you wanted to steal, eventually you didn't steal, you're not going to get punished for it. You didn't. But if you steal, even without thinking, you will still get punished. You will be judged according to your actions. So they're not doomed. Of course, children conceived under these circumstances have free will, like everyone else. And if they choose to do what is right, their reward will be even greater. For they will have overcome their evil impulse, as well as the poor role models they witnessed at home. However, if they do not make the efforts to improve themselves, their tendency toward wickedness will prevail. Okay? Make sense? Let me conclude this part by saying, when peaceful harmony between husband and wife is compromised throughout the Jewish people, and many children are conceived from flawed unions, it causes a rift between God and the Jewish people, leading to the exile of the people from their land. The purpose of the travails, Ma?
Travails, which means troubles.
Travails of exile is to purge Israel of its sinners and rebels, born of flawed unions, and to restore and rekindle faith, leading to Israel's ultimate redemption. As it says, quote, I will remove from you those who rebel and transgress against me. I will take them out of the countries where they sojourn. But they shall not enter upon the soil of Israel. Then you shall know that I am the Lord. This is a quote from Ezekiel 20:38 and Ezekiel 20:40-44. Interesting information, no? Gee, I'll tell you. Now, how is that related to our topic? What was the relationship between Bathsheba and David? People till today accusing David HaMelech wanting and being intimately with Bathsheba because of lust, desire. He used his position as a king to force someone to be with him. Are we going to prove, if not today, well maybe today, that it's something that both wanted? It's all in the Psukim. I'll give you a hint. Usually, when the Psukim wants to tell about a woman that she was raped or taken forcefully against her will, it says Vatilakach, and she was taken. She was raped. It will never say, and she came. If you find, and she came, or she was taken and she came, it means that both they have mutual consent. They both wanted. Okay. Even if they both wanted, it doesn't mean yet that they are tzaddikim. Maybe they both had the desire. Right? She has an opportunity to be with the king. Can you imagine Reb Chaim Kanievsky do that? Rabbi Ovadia? We can't imagine that. But King David, everybody says yes. You think he's a greater tzaddik? There's no comparison to King David. So why do you always suspect David HaMelech? Putting him in the position, yes. You know, when he said, testify in the Tehillim, and it says in the Tanakh, Libi, my heart, halal bekiri, I have no more Yetzer Hara. Hashem took away the Yetzer Hara from him. Yetzer Hara gave up on him. It was not involved in this action at all. Anytime Yetzer Hara came, he said, why are you waking up in the morning? It's too early. You're a king. You got to sleep well to be sharp. You need to judge people, in the right way. You don't do a mistake. So King David would tell, that's the Midrash says, he was talking with his Yetzer Hara, even inclination. That's the voice you hear in your head. He said, I'm learning from you. You came very early to tell me this, right? I'm learning from you. I'm going to come early. Next day I'm going to come. It was 5 o'clock in the morning, 4:30. Now, I came again, 4, 2, 3, 2, all the way. Yetzer Hara says, every time I come to him, he become a greater tzaddik. I'm not doing my job. He left him. And it says, Libi halal bekir. And very few figures in the Tanakh, in the Jewish history, was able to eliminate the evil inclination completely. One of them was King David. There was another one in the Talmud, something about, he's also Gilgul, that he pushed the nail into his eyes. You remember that story, right?
How about
Moshe Rabbeinu, I'm not sure. I don't see any evidence for it. I didn't see. Okay. Next. Any questions? Someone to ask something.
His temper, did that count?
Who?
Moshe Rabbeinu, when he struck the rock, was that from
Moshe
the-
committed total 6 sins. And, we do 6 sins every 2 hours, It's alive. It's a little bit different. Any questions? Before I continue? Yes, go ahead.
I do have a question. So, David saw Bathsheba on the rooftop, and then he summoned for her to come, and she came, but when did he marry her, or did he?
Okay. It's coming. We're going to discuss that. Because we know he had a boy from her. What happened to this firstborn?
He died. That's the only reason.
And who comes after?
Son.
Son. If it's a forbidden relationship, how can Hashem blessed them and says, this guy going to build my Bet Mikdash, my temple. And Mashiach will come from him, through him. You know Mashiach come through Shlomo. David, Shlomo.
Yeah. But what-
This info alone, it's a proof that it was not a sin. But it was still a sin. So what was the sin all about? Because Natan was sent by Hashem. There is no question that was a sin there involved. But we need to clarify and to clear what really happened there. What was the sin that they are talking about? And David admit, and David did Sheva all his life because of that. It's related to what happened with the story of Bathsheba and Uriah, but we have to be exactly, on to say what was the sin exactly. We'll see it. I don't think I have time today. I will try. Let's start discussing this issue. We're going to figure out by Zrat Hashem at the end of this series what was the sin that King David was talking about. And if King David transgressed one of these 9 categories, is it fit to one of them? That was the reason the child died? Why he died? If everything is good, what happened? Why he had to die? You with me?
Yeah.
So the story starts the following. David HaMelech, the title for this part, it's the third part before we finish it. Yeah, the third one. There are 4 parts. David HaMelech is the Gilgul of Adam. He took his promised in Shamayim, in heaven, wife, Bathsheba. Meaning, Adam and Chava uniting together as David and Bathsheba. And the Talmud and the Midrashim says that they both knew. They have Ruach HaKodesh. They're not regular, simple people. They knew that it's supposed to be together. When I'm saying Ruach HaKodesh, it doesn't mean that this is something you have 24/7. It's like Nevuah. Nevuah is above Ruach HaKodesh. Even with Nevuah, you don't get Nevuah 24/7. People mistakenly asking all the time, but he's a prophet, how you didn't know? If Hashem doesn't reveal it to him, he will not know.
I think, don't they go into a trance of some kind? I think Ron,
With Nevuah.
yes. Ron
With Nevuah. With Ruach HaKodesh, no.
Lie.
It's a different level. It's a different level to understand. Even with Nevuah, the Navi needs to read the story the right way. What he sees in the dream, okay. What happened was King David was walking on the roof. And he was trying to throw a stone. In another place, he said that was shooting an arrow. He threw a stone. He tried to hit a bird. A sage is telling us that it was not a regular bird. It was the Satan himself. Mm-hmm. What happened? It's all started that way. King David says, Hashem, people were saying the tefillah, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, and Elohei. I wanted to say Elohei David too. I want to be in that category. He didn't do it for gaiva or pride. He wants to be with VIPs, you know. Mm-hmm. Hashem said to King David, you're not fit to the category. So what does that mean? He said, well, I tested these people. Avram, I tested Yitzchak, I said Yaakov. And they passed the test. It's not for you. You have a different role in this world. He says, so Hashem, test me too. Bechaneni Hashem, test me. Hashem says, okay, you want to play it that way? Fine. I'm going to test you. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to test you in relationship between, I'm going to tell you what's the test going to be about. A relationship between a man to a woman. Okay, adultery, like. God forbid, not adultery. So, we would expect David to be alert.
And he was.
The very next day,
David.
some says it was that day,
David.
he was tested. Huh?
David was not married or.
He was married.
He was.
You have multiple wives.
He was married
Yeah,
himself.
he was married, yes.
But he can have more than one wife.
He has up to 18.
Okay.
Can have up to 18.
So what is
So David HaMelech was walking on the roof, and the same day he got tested. And unfortunately, he fails in a way. We'll see which way. So he was walking, and Satan was so happy. I have a mission to trick King David. So David sees this bird. I don't know what he wants from this bird, why he wants to hit that bird. I don't know why. But prior to this flying bird, Bathsheba was on the roof washing her hair. Some says she was there, she was not supposed to be there because Uriah was in the battle zone. She was supposed to be alone at home, so she was at her grandfather's house. Who is her grandfather's? The king's advisor, Achitophel. So Achitophel lives close by to the palace. So every time he needs it, he can come quickly. Right? They were neighbors. So she is on the roof washing her hair, preparing, I don't know, for Shabbat or whatever. And she put the right cover, everything is in tzniut, no problem. But the Yetzer Hara, the Satan knows what he's doing. And he fly there and he make David wanting to grab him. He hit, obviously he missed, and hits the, what you call it, canopy or whatever. Huh? The screen. And then you see this lady. Now, if you read this Midrash, you read this Gemara, you would say, this lady, he sees, she was tzniut, she was wearing everything, just the hair. But remember, it's not covered. Right? She didn't have a wig, shadel. Back then it was still forbidden. Today is different. She was washing the hair. And then he looked at her. And he started to feel something that this lady is actually supposed to be his. Don't ask me how. This is part of Ruach HaKodesh. Some said, nah, come on. He saw a lady, he wants to be with her. David HaMelech, as it says in the Critic of Sanhedrin, because David HaMelech was Chacham Gadol, he was a great scholar, and he knew Gilgulim, he knew the secret of Gilgulim. These people that knows the Sod, the secret of Gilgulim, they can sense if you and I here, if we were together, or we call it sometimes déjà vu, but they can sense that we are connected. We are under the same cluster, like we said, the Eshkol. Okay? They know how to sense it. And he immediately understands that she is Chava. He knows his role in the world. He's Adam. He said, hey, this is Neshamot of Chava. Chava and Adam, I need to be with her together. Then he sent messengers to bring her. So what happened after? What happened before? We'll continue next week. We have davening in 5 minutes, right? So Be'ezrat Hashem, next week we can be here at the same time. No, something special on Wednesday. So it's probably going to be next Wednesday. We'll discuss what happened and if ta'ava, lust or desire was involved in this story. All right? Wishing you all the best. Shavuot.
Is that 7 o'clock? 7 o'clock?
Probably it's going to be 7 o'clock.